I was watching the 2-minute countdown. I thought we've got a 2-minute countdown here. I love that. That's great. Hey, welcome to the town of Atoka, and good evening.
Good evening.
Let's try that again. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, there you go. Hey, my name is Kerry Vaughn, and we wanted to pull this together tonight so that we could give to you a very informational forum. Not a debate, but a forum. So you can get to know the candidates, and we've got questions, and then we'll have some introductions, wrap up. We'll do it all tonight, but you'll walk away tonight with more information than you came with, and so that's all good. But at this time, I want to turn it over to Mayor Barry Aiken, who really had the idea of this, along with Rosemary, to pull this forum together. So, Mayor, I'm going to toss it to you.
Thanks, Gary. Great turnout. Thank y'all for being here. I think it was Thomas Jefferson that made the statement that said a well-informed electorate is key, is vital to our democracy. And by y'all taking time out of y'all's day, y'all are showing, hey, we want to be informed. We want to know what these people are thinking like. The only thing I could add to it, we meet every second Tuesday of the month, the board meeting, and I'd love to have this room just like this. Every second Tuesday of the month, you want to see your government, your leaders in action, this is where you need to be. So thank you for that. I hope we've got double, triple this watching online. But Kurt's saying not necessarily. But anyway, again, thank you for being here. It says a lot about what y'all are concerned about, what you are, putting priority. And I'll turn it back over to Carrie. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, let me also welcome everyone tonight. We appreciate you being here. We did this last year, and I think it's a great idea to bring the candidates to you. Now, we stress the importance that this is an informative meeting. We just want you to get to know the people that will be representing you, okay? And so let's just sit back and relax and let them tell us who they are and what they would like to do for the town if they are elected. Thank you, and Carrie, let's just get started.
Our first session tonight is introductions by each of the candidates. And so what we'd like to do, we're going to start here to the left. We're in alphabetical order, so that's very simple. But each candidate has about 2 minutes to talk about who you are, your background, but more importantly, key campaign objectives. We'll start with you, Chris.
Thanks, Kerry. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Dici. I'm from 47 Buck Trail here in Atoka. Wasn't born here, no. I know that's a big source of conversation for some. I was born in New York, raised in Connecticut, and then at the age of 17, I joined the Navy, where I spent the next 34 years circling the globe. We moved here in 2017. My wife and I decided this was our forever home. I couldn't think of a better place to live than the town of Atoka. This place has made us feel so welcome, and is kind of what drove me to want to be in city government when I retired. The first thing my wife said when I retired was, "You're going to go and start doing this now?" I thought you were going to relax. But I believe in leadership starts with serving others. And that's kind of what I'm driving to during my time as alderman here. I'm here to serve others, and that means sometimes we have to make some difficult decisions. Sometimes we have to have hard conversations. But what's important is that we all are comfortable having these conversations. Are we going to agree on everything? I guarantee you we're not. When I say we, I mean the Board of Aldermen are not going to agree on everything. If you've come to the meetings or seen us online, you'll see that. However, it's important that we have conversations. We have conversations with the citizens of the town of Atoka every day, and any opportunity we have to interact to get the heartbeat of what everybody wants. Because again, while I'm up here, sitting in this seat, I represent you, the voters. I represent you, the citizens of Atoka, rather, not me. So what you want is what we're here for. Other than that, folks, I'm here to try and continue. One of my other candidates has a slogan about "Make Atoka Great Again," which I apologize, I don't agree with. Atoka it is great now, and I'm here to just trying to help maintain that. As I just saw 15 seconds, so that's my time. I'll give you back 2. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. Thank you, Chris. Give a round of applause. That's good. Very good. Typically, we would have Andrew Bogdan next, but he's not here tonight, is my understanding, so we'll go to Brett.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. My name is Brett Giannini. I'm currently one of your aldermen. I was elected in 2008. I've been serving since then. I appreciate your support in the past, and I hope I'll get it again. My wife and I moved here in 2001. We raised two beautiful kids here. They went through Tipton County schools all their life. Alan is up in the Pentagon working cybersecurity in the Army, and Mary just graduated U of M, and she is, we'll know in a couple of weeks if she's going to get her in a PhD, and if not, she'll probably work on her master's, so very proud of them. I guess my legislative philosophy, and I would encourage all of you to go and look at my record and others' records. I think we'll find a lot in common. We're all citizen servants up here, but my legislative philosophy would probably be low taxes and good services, okay? We can maintain what we have now and add as we go along. We don't have to, raise your taxes, 30 cents every year. Well, that was fast. To maintain what we have now. I guess my political philosophy would be government is necessary, but the less government, the better. Again, I appreciate your support, and thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. Brett, well done. The buzzing sound, that's the refrigerator, so don't let that scare you, okay? That's not us. Your clock is there, and then Rosemary will cue you as we get down to 15 seconds. And so thank you for staying the course. Next we have Jeremy.
All right, good evening everyone. My name is Jeremy Lightsey. I'm a lifelong resident of Tipton County. My wife and I, after we got married, we moved to Atoka roughly 20 years ago, which we raised two kids as well in Atoka. They went through Tipton County schools and still are part of the community as well today. Where I stand on certain topics the town's got, I'd like to see infrastructure do better and tax dollars spent better. The reason I'm running is if I'm going to be having an issue with the problem, I'd like to be part of the problem, solving it. Other than that, I'd like each and every one of y'all support. If there's any questions after the meeting, I'll stay over and as well answer any questions we may have that we might not get to tonight. As far as the slogan goes, make Atoka great again, I never said Atoka was a bad place to live. It's a catchy slogan, and apparently it's working because it's brought other attention to other people. And that's all I got.
Next we have Mr. Cody Pace.
Good evening, everybody. Like he said, my name is Cody Pace. I am currently one of your aldermen. I am ending my first term, but that doesn't mean that this is the only time I've been involved in our town. I started in our town about 7 years before I was elected. I started working on a merit badge going for Eagle Scout, citizenship in the community, where we had to attend a meeting, learn about the issues, report back. That's how I learned about my passion for our city and just how I wanted to help serve. Before that, I am an Eagle Scout as well. I was a graduate of Brighton High School. Married my wife last year. We are proud to be home here in Atoka. Bought our first house. She is currently working at Regional 1, so it's very, very interesting dynamic there. I also served on the court-appointed Special Advocate Board, Executive Board. I was their Chief Fundraising Officer during their fundraising time periods. I served from 2019 to 2021 during COVID, which was very hard to fundraise, but we kept it going. We kept servicing the youth of Tipton County. My top priorities for our town really is the transparency in the government, as well as just the overall efficiency here. We want to talk about, why does the board do certain things? Well, you should be able to have those answers. Any board member should be able to be approached and say, hey, this is why we did this, and you should have all the information. So that's what we're trying to do here. I also want to see increase in our infrastructure. This is an issue that we've seen over and over. Roads, sewers, things like this. We had explosive growth over 20 years. We're playing catch up to some of these issues. It doesn't fix overnight, but we are getting plans together and we're moving forward. And that's the way we have to do this. We have to be able to move forward and build Atoka's future together versus just coming in and saying, this is how it's going to be done. Thank you.
Well done. Next, we have Jesse Poole.
First of all, thank you, Chamber, for having this. Thank you, Town of Atoka. My name is Jesse Poole. Graduated from Mugford High School. Met my bride in Mugford High School. And she's back here in the audience, and I want to recognize her. For 52 years, she's put up with me. That's fine. I will say that in my daughter and my grandsons were 3 generations of graduating Mumford High School. So that, and Mayor Walker, you were the principal that got the last one through. On that note, I attended college under the GI Bill. I was in the National Guard, and then I switched over to full-time Army. I am a veteran. I've spent roughly 40 years in law enforcement. I am retired from the Atoka Police Department as their first chief 3.5 years ago. I am a little biased to the police department, I won't lie to you, and I still am, and I still think they're the finest. I sat on both sides of this board as far as being an employee, department head, being a citizen. I don't agree with some things that have been voted on. I've been a little boisterous about that. It's nothing against anybody on this board. I am conservative. I just felt that we need to take a seat back, take another look at things, and maybe a different set of eyes, a different set of voices. Most of you that know me, I don't rubber stamp anything, and I pretty well speak what I feel at times. This city, when I started, was about 800, 900 population. So I've seen the growth. I've seen 20-something years of it. And we've outgrown our infrastructure. And I know that the town officials have recognized that. Oops, I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Christy Renfro.
Hi, my name is Christy Renfro. I am currently an alderman, and I very much enjoy it. I have a servant's heart. I have lived here almost 20 years. My husband and I have been married in just a couple of weeks, 31 years. Both of our kids have gone through the school systems here and graduated and have very bright futures. Like I said, I have a servant's heart. I very much enjoy our community, our town. I enjoy being a part of it, and I really want to work on bringing business in so that we can offset taxes on the residents, get more tax revenue from businesses. So I'd really like to work on that. And of course, like everybody else has said, infrastructure. I know that we need to work on that as well. So that's all I've got.
Very good.
Good afternoon. Thank you for everyone for coming out tonight and for those that are watching us on social media. My name is Karen Rudolph. I've lived in Atoka for 17 years. I'm married to my husband, which is actually the chief of police of Atoka. We've raised 3 children here, 2 sons and a daughter. My parents live here. I have other family members who live here as well. A little bit about my background is I have 29 years in law enforcement for the Memphis Police Department. Worked my way up through the ranks. Now I'm an executive major over our traffic division. I'm a graduate of the FBI National Academy, and also from the University of Tennessee Leadership. I have a bachelor's of science in criminal justice, and I love Atoka. I love the people in Atoka. I love everything about Atoka, and it's a very promising town. My goals basically are for responsible development. We need to bring in more businesses here as well, but we need to work with our local businesses that are here in place now. Also, the infrastructure, we know that that's an issue. We have to work on that, come up with other means of transportation through our town. It's not gonna stop. It's only gonna continue with what's going on around us. I'm a communicator. Right now, I'm very nervous. But I'm a communicator, and I think that's one thing that we lack, as I say we, is if I was an alderman lack in is that communication. We rely on those monthly meetings, maybe posting something on the website, but we have to be out there in the public all the time, giving information, not waiting for the questions to come. I think a lot of it is frustration from the community, not understanding exactly why we are doing things, and we should do a better job at that. That's one of my goals.
Last but not least, Stephen.
Hey y'all, thank you guys for again coming out tonight, and again for those who couldn't make it, who are attending and watching online either now or will do so later. We really appreciate you taking the time, effort, and energy to learn more about all of us. So my name is Stephen Schofer. I do have a Master's of Business Administration that I obtained from Bethel University. I got that in 2022. I serve as a deacon at Gateway Baptist Church here in Atoka. Happily married to my wife Jennifer for 14 years. She is also got a master's level of education, so we're very focus driven on education. She's a local school teacher in our school systems, and we also have a daughter, Willow, who attends our school systems as well. A veteran, of course, has served, just like Mr. Dietschy said, I raised my hand at 17 and went to the Army. Served in combat operations in Iraq about 20 years ago, which is crazy to think it's that long ago. And then wanted to do a full career and unfortunately got hurt. I will tell you now, when they say you can't jump out of planes forever, they mean it. It's not the fall, it's that it broke. Stop at the bottom. That's what it's so I'll let you know. I've had 10 years, or more than 10 years of protecting and advocating for youth in Tipton County. In 2019, I was given the award of the Youth Officer of the Year by the state of Tennessee. I've also been elected and served as the county commission from 2018 to 2022, and currently serve as the chair of the planning commission for Atoka. I've done that since 2018, as well as sitting on the board of zoning appeals since 2023. I've got over 20 plus years of experience in serving with various organizations and nonprofits. I've served positions from chair to vice chair to treasurer to secretary. Currently, I manage multi-million-dollar budgets, and with the largest one being the $240 billion. And like I said, I believe I'm the strongest candidate that we got, and would love the opportunity to serve you. Thank you.
All right, we will slide into the second session, which are random questions from the basket. And so Ms. Vanna White here to my right will pull the question from the basket, and we'll go right back down the line, again, alphabetical order, and you have 2 minutes to reply. All right, Chris. Are you or any of your immediate family members a current or former town or county elected official or appointee? If so, what positions did they hold at that time?
Thank you. No, none of my family has ever been an appointed or elected official here in Atoka. My wife and I are both on the board of directors at the Ruffin Theater up in Covington. You may have seen me play the Wizard of Oz last play run around. My wife, Dawn, who's sitting back there now, is a teacher down at Millington Primary. But no, no one in our family has ever been an employee of Atoka.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, these questions came from the public. We kind of reached out to people in the community, and they would email these questions in. So we have divided them up and shaken them up, and now they're coming back to you. All right. Brett, here's your question.
Yes, sir.
If you were to disagree with your fellow board members about a decision that was made by the entire board, what would be the appropriate way to handle that specific disagreement?
Man, that happens all the time. And I will say this is one great thing about being on this board. We can completely disagree, different philosophies, from one end to the other. But we absolutely respect each other's opinions. We respect each other's reasons for why they vote. We're always friends at the end.
Very good. Very good. All right. Well done. Okay, Jeremy. This is your question from the public. What neighborhood do you live in and why? And where are your favorite places to spend time in our town of Atoka?
So we live in the Williamsburg Estates, 19 Duncan Drive. While we lived there is the house that we were in Faulkner probably for 10 years in Faulkner Heights area. We found a house off Rosemark, we liked it, and that's where we purchased, and kids liked it, so we moved there. That's where we're planning on staying, and we'll plan on being for the next, until Lord tells us it's time to leave, that's where we'll be at. Favorite thing in town, we do a lot of the ball fields, any of the sporting events, we hang out up there. We use the walking trail a lot, since we're in the neighborhood, we walk the trail a lot with our kids. Not so much as the kids anymore since they're grown, but we take our dogs walking there.
Very good, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well done. All right. Cody, you got the paragraph question. Atoka needs more police officers if it's going to be prepared to handle the growth to the surrounding areas. That will cost money. How do you bring additional revenue to the town without raising taxes? If you say we can simply relocate funds, are you prepared to say which departments you would cut funds out of and by how much? Or would you aim to bring in more businesses and revenue to generate more activity?
It's a great question, especially with the length here. There's a lot of information. And I won't just talk with the police department. The question pertains to police, but first response in general. Our police department, our fire department, we need more. And that's been an extreme point for the board in the past 4 years. We have added police and fire in those 4 years. It's a very tricky way to actually get the revenue to do this. We could reallocate, but that's taking away from other departments that are really running skeleton crews as it is themselves. So the real answer to do that would be bringing in more businesses. The business offset here is about $1.1 versus, whereas property tax is about 0.9 per person. So the answer to increase all these departments would be bringing in more businesses. Now, how do we do such a thing? We did an industrial development board. They have been in progress for about a year now, and they've been reaching out to businesses to bring in good corporate partners. And we want good community partners inside of Atoka, because you don't want just some random business that comes in and has nothing to do with your community. The one I really point towards is somebody like a Chick-fil-A. When you see Chick-fil-A, you know they're involved in their community. They're always doing something with that. That's what Atoka needs. Not just the revenues there, but we need these other partners, and that also brings sponsorships to other departments, like our ball fields. But to bring it all back to that one question, that's how we move forward with all personnel, not just police, fire, public works. These are all things that are needed, and that's how we do this.
All right, all right. Okay, Jesse. We know that infrastructure improvements are the #1 need of the town. In your opinion, what is the second leading issue?
Second leading issue is probably going to be attracting businesses, is to offset taxes. And I'll say this, they have created a position that's doing that. That's Amanda, if I remember correctly. And that's her, but she said, look, I don't remember her title. The mayor could probably do that. I would say that is one way, some of the second most important things, because what we've been talking about is taxes and hiring and infrastructure. In order to do that, you gotta have funding.
Right.
So that's one of the second most important things. But to do that, we gotta give and we gotta take a little bit with our priorities and figure out what our wants and our needs are, and don't get those confused, and maybe take some of the funding. The infrastructure will bring businesses, but actually Millington's getting most of the businesses because I believe they're offering some type of pilot, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's what the town is looking at with industrial forward. I may be wrong with that, but they're that's to me, one of the second most touching issues. That, public safety is gonna be right on that list. And that includes fire, police, and it also includes ambulance. Medical, a lot of medical calls go out of that fire department. I don't know if folks realize that. As we get an older generation in here, that is gonna be a bigger demand. So, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, all right. Okay, Christie, this is your question. Without naming infrastructure, you like it when a question starts off that way. What are your two main issues to improve the town of Atoka, and how do you specifically plan to get there?
My two main would be bringing in the businesses, and I'm so glad that everybody is like on the same page with that. Bringing in the businesses, because we do need to offset property taxes. And I know you said don't mention infrastructure, but traffic flow, I really like to improve on the traffic flow, especially Mead Lake and Atoka, Idaville and Kimbrough, that whole area, and bringing in the mini roundabout.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good, very good. Okay, Karen. Just know it's not me pulling these out of the basket, okay? Don't shoot the reader, don't shoot the reader. What current budget line item do you believe has the most fat to cut, the most pork? Why? Any budget item requiring additional funding? If so, how would you propose to fund this shortfall?
I think that's a question for somebody that's already sitting in this position. My answer is not going to be infrastructure, I can tell you that. But without knowing the exact line items that's in the budget, and I haven't sat in this position before, I'm new to this game, I can't provide an adequate response to that. I apologize.
Okay.
That's great. That's great.
It's a great,
We'll give you another.
we're gonna give you another.
Look, I'm skipping down here.
You're still on the hot spot. So we had enough in the basket to do that, so.
I'm not good with this one.
All right, here's the question. How do you propose to balance the town budget without implementing a property tax?
Well, I think we switched to using infrastructure to bringing in businesses. That's what we're talking about now. And I agree with everyone else that's sitting here is one thing we have to help support our local businesses that are here now. We have to pull in more businesses, and we have to be particular of what we want in our community. It needs to look like and feel like what our citizens want. I love whenever I go into a town and you pull into this town, you go, this is a cute little town. And they have the cute little boutiques and the antique malls and the nice shops that you can go to. And that all generates funds. I'm not saying go out here and let's reel in a Target, which I know some people would like that, but we want to keep that small town, from what I'm hearing from citizens, they want to keep that small town feel. And you can do that by bringing in businesses and just being more particular of what it is exactly what you want. And that's one thing we have to figure out. Well, as an alderman, I would help figure out is what do we want that to look like? We keep talking about it, but until it's down on paper and people start seeing it and hearing it and understanding what's going on, it's still just a plan that's sitting there. So.
Very good. All right. Okay, Stephen, she gave you the fat one here. All right.
I feel bad.
All right, here we go. In a recent work session about town employee compensation, the mayor stated that he thought great assets of the town were his employees. If you agree with the mayor, what specifically would you do to help recruit and retain employees? If you don't agree, tell us why.
No, I do agree with the mayor on that. You know, it's not about doing what you can to bring in people. It's about retaining the talent that you have now. I think since COVID in 2020, we all can agree, everyone's seen the lack of employment that people have. Everyone's trying to hire, nobody's wanting to work. So we have those people who want to work. We have great people who want to work. So I wholeheartedly agree with the mayor in that sentiment. Yes, and we want to retain them. There's been a lot of talk about how we generate more and more dollars, right? Bringing businesses in, doing infrastructure, things like that. One of the easiest solutions that we have that I can offer to everybody and that we're missing the mark on, honestly, is the internet sales tax.
Yes.
That's what we are missing. So if you can't buy local and you can't find what the products and services that you want local, I urge you, please order online. And when you order online, those tax dollars come right back here to Atoka. And it's a solution that nobody is talking about. And that's how we do that. So if we can't bring the businesses in, and you have to do so, then please order online and have that delivered. And that's how we get those extra revenues. We can do pay raises, we can hire more people, and we can move forward in that direction.
Very good. Round of applause for everybody. Hey, you stayed on time. It's only 7 o'clock. We've got till 9 o'clock. So we've got 2 more hours of this stuff. You've done well. Hey, let me pause for a moment. We've had some talk about the Industrial Development Board. I think that was the reference with Amanda, and we talked about pilots and TIFs and tax incentives and those type of things. If you serve on the IDB for Atoka, would you please stand? That's wonderful. That's a great conduit for any town or city or municipality, and so my hat's off to you. All right, let's move into the next session here. We have questions for each individual candidate. The same rule applies. You have 2 minutes to respond, but this will be a rifle question to each single candidate. And we'll start again with Chris. We'll go straight down the line in alphabetical order, and then we're going to come back for the last session. All right? Very good. So, Chris.
Yes.
Here is your question. As the most recent appointment to the board, have your priorities changed with regards to the town?
That's a great question. Thanks, Kerry. So I'll start off by saying, first off, Stephen, my family's doing our best on the internet tax. I know the people at Amazon are very happy. Have my priorities changed, or have my point of view has certainly changed. Think of it like this. If you're fishing and you're standing on the bank, when you get into a boat, your vision changes of what you're looking at. If you're out hunting and you're in the field, and you go up to a deer stand, your point of view changes immediately. In the last since June, when I was assigned, voted in by the board of aldermen, my point of view has certainly changed as in the town of Atoka. I find that as every day passes, I learn more about the city. I learn more about processes. I learn more about things that I thought I knew about, and ask questions. So absolutely, yes, has my point of view changed in the last 6 months? It certainly has. I think anyone would, as you continue to get exposed to more knowledge and more business processes and, just anything that impacts the community, and see how quickly things can impact the community. It's truly amazing. And the fact that people feel comfortable enough using social media to reach out and talk. I know sometimes people can say, oh, it's a pain, but I welcome it. This is how we communicate now. It's not 50 years ago, 60 years ago, when everyone sometimes would just meet in towns like this, in town halls like this. We do see each other on social media a lot more now. So absolutely, yes, my point of view has changed. My priorities have not. It's still making sure that I serve the citizens of Atoka every day and helping them make this a great place to live. Continue to make it a great place to live. Thank you.
Very good. Second question, Chris. So, you've lived in other communities.
Yes, I have.
Okay. Now you're in West Tennessee. You're in South Tipton County. Here in Atoka. What features or improvements did that you've seen or experienced that you would love to bring to this town?
That's another great question. So that's one of the things I think works to my advantage of my career moving around. I've had the luxury and the privilege of living all over the United States and all around the world. Things, simple things like having water that runs in the wintertime that doesn't freeze. When we're driving during the storms and you see roads getting washed out. Stuff like that is important, and I've lived in a lot of places where weather is a factor. Living in North Chicago, snow was something special there, which we thankfully, knock on wood, will never have to live with here at the level we did there. But it's a matter of knowing that the community has the support they need in order to continue to function. We talked about here a number of times infrastructure. We've talked about bringing businesses in. I would ask, everyone says, well, we got to improve businesses. What are we doing? I'll go down to Lightfoot Farms, their farmers market, and I would talk to, and Goat Days. I talk to almost every stand there. Hey, have you ever thought about coming up to Atoka? We've got a great opportunity up there. We're a growing city. We're wonderful people up there. Why don't you come on up and open a business? And I've turned a couple of leads over to the town. That's the kind of things, is having that line of communications, what's helped me in my career and places I've lived, help me kind of form my thoughts. Again, I love this place. I love Atoka. We decided this to be our forever home quite some time ago, and it's my responsibility to serve the community and help it to grow and help it to have the things it needs.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Brett, we turn to you. All right. First question. What experience do you have in managing a budget over $10 million outside of the town of Atoka?
None. I wish to God I had experience.
Hey, look, honesty is the best policy. It's not many people's policy, but it's the best policy.
Just a little bit. Each individual alderman does not manage the entire budget. We just don't. We do it as a collective. Okay? We know what we're going to bring in, or at least have an idea of what we're going to bring in. The directors bring us what they want, what they need, and then it's our job to get that down inside that number that we expect to take in. The administrator and the directors, each month, they give us basically where they're at in the budget. We look at it, we ask questions, so not each individual is managing a $10 million budget, so, thank you.
Good insight. All right, question number two. These are individual questions pertaining to each candidate. So you serve on the county commission already, and so you serve several different places with the county, with the town. So if both of those entities had conflicting stances, what would you do?
That's a good question, but one I'll give you a couple answers to. I don't foresee that happening. The town and the county get along pretty well. In the event something like that did happen, my county commission district is basically the center of Atoka. And there's other county districts that touch Atoka, and those folks are there. So I would have to say, if my county district in the town of Atoka had an issue, well, to me, that's all Atoka. Those residents are all Atoka. And I'm gonna do what's ever best for those residents, regardless of what any other commissioner in any other district may feel like. I'm not scared to say no. I mean, everybody will tell you that. I've gotten beat up a lot over saying no sometimes, but I'm okay with that. That's what we're here for. Again, I can't foresee any situation where that would happen, but if something else did come up where it was kind of a, hey, we don't know what's gonna happen here, I would probably abstain. I would try not to, but if that was the right decision or the ethical decision, that's what I would do.
Right. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Jeremy, your two questions. Here's the first one. Should you be elected, what do you plan to implement immediately?
That would be, it's tough, because I would take in concerns and consideration from each resident that comes forward from the town. Kind of brainstorm and see what's the most realistic thing that can happen right away, and go from there with whatever decision we may bring. So I'd bring it to the board of aldermen if I was elected, discuss it with them, and then see if we can vote on it and try to help the town out.
Okay, all right. The second question, again, don't shoot the messenger here, okay? I'm just a reader, just a moderator. But this pertains to kind of your overzealous support and involvement in this national election. Do you think it will overshadow your view and responsibilities at the municipal level?
I don't believe it will. My enthusiasm for a well-ran government should be viewed as they try to indicate negatively. I don't believe that's part of it. With that being said, if there's anything my desire or outward support would be, for as an election official, would be a successful term. And I feel like the enthusiasm would be beneficial for necessary goals in a timely manner for the town of Atoka.
Great, thank you, Jeremy. Good response. All right. Cody Pace. What are your plans, talking about you, what are your plans for all of the continuous building in town?
So over the past few years, we've seen a much slower growth with Atoka. And a lot of that has to deal with the fact that the board has kind of put in place where we're wanting to see this growth managed a lot better. It's not so much a explosion of neighborhoods and roads and all these different things. It's making sure that, okay, the plans get submitted, this is what's going in, this is how it is, and making sure that that's followed to the T. Whether that's going to be the roads, the sewer, things along that nature. That's how you control and have a smart growth, is making sure what's supposed to be there is there. Now, the other part of that too would be traffic. I know we've talked about this already tonight. Traffic is always going to be here, and that's just how it is. But making sure that that traffic is controlled properly, and how do we get there safely, and making sure it's managed properly. We've already before seen a denial of a neighborhood over off of Mead Lake. Mead Lake was at capacity. There was no forethought of how do we get all these extra individuals out of here. And there's no reason to keep adding neighborhoods there if the roads already can't handle it.
Okay, all right, good. All right, number two, question number two for you is back to the experience question. As you look at the future, as a potential elected official here in the town of Atoka, do you see your role as aggressively going after, a lot of talk about businesses, a lot of talks about TIFs and pilots and going after opportunities? What do you see your role in that regard? As an ambassador, as a hunter, a farmer, what's your role in all that?
So it's a great question. The Board of Mayor and Aldermen, we have a very short point here with businesses, because a lot of this is handled through our Planning Commission and the newly formed IDB. That's not saying that we don't have anything to do with them, but we speak with businesses where we see. We recommend businesses to maybe go after that. We've heard of expansions, or that they'd love to come here. So it's never going to quit talking about the town. Just because you're an elected official doesn't mean you show up for a meeting one time a month and get a packet and vote. It's always, you're the face, you're an ambassador of the town. Your phone is always on, and it doesn't matter if it's a citizen or a business that is sitting there going, hey, I want to come here, or hey, I have this issue, and making sure that that's there. But this is also making sure that there's support here. We've talked again about the Industrial Development Board. The board cannot do the TIFs. Things like that is all controlled through the Industrial Development Board. So we need to make sure that the board is supporting this, that way that they can have the assets and the resources to go out there and aggressively go after businesses that we see are a great fit for the town of Atoka. And they have the support of the board, and that we're always in communication back and forth going, okay, this is what we want to see next, or the IDB saying, hey, this is what we're seeing, we need to move forward there, or this is how we can move towards getting these businesses.
Thank you. Thank you for that response. Jesse, your turn.
Yeah.
All right. Question number one. Like everything else, Atoka's expenses, costs to provide services are increasing. Is there ever a good time to increase taxes?
That's one thing I guess we all discuss and what we've all been campaigning on. There's never a good time. However, if services are needed, they've got to be paid for. That's just the bottom line. There's no other way around it. If the citizens want new parks, they got to be paid for. The biggest issue when you look at this is anything that you do that's a reoccurring, you know that expense is going to continue on the next year and the next year and the next year. As we know, capital outlay projects are usually one-time expenses. So there's no good time. I think where we might fall down and drop on that subject is we're not communicating as well, I think, with the citizens. I'm a firm believer in getting out to the community. We used to have some community meetings at the two churches. The one year that we wanted to do an extremely high tax rate, some years back before anybody on this board was here, is we broke down what that money was going to, that 17, 19 cents. We broke down a nickel's going to law enforcement, a nickel's going to the fire department, a nickel was going to the parks, and 4 cents was going to public works. That's where that money went. That's what it was earmarked for, and it went nowhere else. We might ought to get back to that. And I believe in doing that, is getting out. If we can't get the folks here, I'm like the mayor. I would love to see this room filled with people. And the last time it got filled like this, other than the nights, when the city was going to do that large tax increase, they filled this room up, standing room only. And I've been in this room where there hasn't been 10 people here for a meeting. And I know I've gone over my time, but I could sure add some more to it.
I didn't even stop you, Jesse, I was just looking.
You were storytelling, there you go.
Storytelling, but it's got a lot of facts.
All right, number two, Jesse. When you were the police chief, and this is obvious, when you were the police chief, your main focus was on being the safest town in Tennessee, or the safest town in America. Will this be your focus again? Or can you holistically lead across the city?
First of all, the focus was not about being the safest in the state of Tennessee. It's being the safest for our citizens. That's number one. Number two, the aldermen up here do not run the departments. The department heads run their departments. That's not our jobs. That would not be our job, these aldermen up here, and I believe everyone would agree with that. So therefore, if there is an issue or a problem, that would go to the town administrator, or I talk with the department head, which would be the chief. Chief and I have a good working relationship. I got the luxury of working with him for a couple of months before I retired. Atoka is a safe community. We've got a great police department, and I think everybody in here will agree to that. Yes, we want to be the safest? Always. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That is your focus, that is your goal, is to be the safest. How you accomplish that is up to that police chief sitting right there. It's not up to this board. Our board, if there's a problem, is to address it. It's the chief's job to run that department.
All right. All right. Good response. Christy, we turn to you. The 2-minute mark is set. As a woman, how do you plan to manage a town that has mostly been driven by men in leadership positions?
Well, I look at who's the best man or woman for the job. It doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman. So, I mean, that's kind of my bottom line on that, you know. If I was a man or a woman, I'm gonna work just as hard for everything that the town needs.
Okay, very good, very good. Question number 2, looking at your skill sets and past experience and knowledge, what all do you bring to the table for the town of Atoka?
Like I said earlier, I've got a servant's heart. I very much enjoy serving my community and my town. It's very important to me. And as far as experience, I'm wrapping up my 4th year as alderman. I have learned an enormous amount of things that it's just been invaluable. I've learned how to deal with people, not just citizens, but, you know, like Brett was saying, we may disagree, but at the end of the day, you know, we're still friends and still respectful of each other. So that's about it.
Okay, all right, excellent.
Thanks.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, Karen, we're coming to you. Question number 1, how does your experience with the Memphis Police Department help in managing the town of Atoka?
So, as I spoke earlier, I've had a vast, I've had a lot of roles that I've dealt with in the academy. I'm taking myself way back. I apologize. So I've experienced a lot in the Memphis Police Department, and some of the roles that I played in was in our accreditation unit. Our accreditation unit is responsible for policies and procedures, working with outside agencies and trying to bring those best practices into the department. That was one of our main goals to do. We were successful and was accredited and was re-accredited. Another thing is that working from the Public Information Office. I was there for 14 years. I know, like I said, I'm nervous and I shouldn't be because I did that for 14 years, but in that position you learn how important it is to communicate with the public, how to provide them with that information, how to take in the information and the questions. Questions can't sit there. You have to find a solution. They just don't want to hear mouth service. You have to show them. And in that role, it's important because that's what you do. You learn how to communicate. Also, being a commander where I'm at now, it helps me understand, you know, the dynamics of creating a productive environment. You have to lean on those with the education and the experience, like I would here in the town. You have to lean on your leaders that we already have in place, and draw from them to get the information. You know, we have to continue building that bridge with the community and working off of the information that they give you. All these things help with managing and leadership. And when somebody looks at you as a leader, what they will do as an alderman, you have to be able to show them that you can do that and provide them with the help that they need and answer the concerns that they have.
Okay. Very good, right on time, very good, okay. Second question, these are questions that were sent in that we pieced together. Your husband is the current chief of police. Do you feel as though there's any type of conflict of interest going forward if elected?
You sure that's my question?
Great answer. Great answer.
So, no, I do not think that there is a conflict. I'm a very independent person. I can stand on my own 2 feet. I've experienced enough in my career and in my life to be able to make decisions. And the decisions that I make are based on what the community wants. It's not on what my husband or the chief of police want or what I want. It's what the community wants, and that's why I'm here to serve. So now I will say that if there's a situation that comes up that directly affects him, directly and independently, if there was, for example, which I don't think would ever happen, the board says, hey, we want to give Chief Rudolph a great bonus and a raise. Well, since it affects him independently, I would abstain from that. I would not vote on that. But that's the same with anybody that's on the board. if they have a family member that's purchasing property that for some reason the board members have to review it and vote on it, they would have to recuse themselves and not vote on that. Or, if you're a contractor and you own a business and you want to bring it in here and it's got to go before the board, it would be ethically correct to not vote on something like that. So that could happen to any of us at any time.
Good answer, great answer. All right, well done, well done. Okay, Steve, we're wrapping up with you. We are wrapping up with you. So, again, a question specifically tailored for you. You ran for office of the county executive in 2022. Do you have any other aspirations on running for that office, or basically any other county office again?
No.
Okay. One and done, huh? One and done.
No, I mean, no, not at this time. Honestly, like I mentioned earlier, my family has a real big faith and belief in God, and so we go kind of where we feel God's going to direct us to go. That was a decision that we made when we ran in 2022. Outcome wasn't what we wanted to, as far as the numbers are concerned. But I can tell you, I got a 13-year-old girl back there who was 11 years old at the time, and she got to watch her father, who wanted to stand for the values that he felt were important. That she got to watch her father, who again repeatedly said, "I took an oath at 17 to defend that Constitution, and by God, that's what I'm going to do at all times." And so she watched her father have his back up against the wall, and she watched a lot of knives going back, a lot of mudslinging. She watched a lot of things like that. But the one thing she did see is her father did not back down. And so if that is a value that I can put in her, I don't think I lost. I think I won that one.
I was at another forum last Saturday, and some of the comments were, we should have town hall meetings, we should have ad hoc committees, we should pull together small groups, that type of thing, for this other community. So here's the second question. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process so that everybody feels like they have some ownership?
Well, we got to be honest. We got to show up. I can't tell you how many town events that we have that are here, and my family, we volunteer to go to those events. We sponsor those events. We help facilitate those events. And I'm not seeing a whole lot of elected people there. And so I see a lot of town people, and we talk to them, and we interact, and we communicate, and we do those things. And I don't see that. So that's where we have to start. I think it was mentioned earlier, I can't remember who said it, but you're the focal point, you're the face, you're the figurehead of this town. Well, if that's the case, then I tell people all the time, look, 90% of success is just showing up. It's just showing up. We need to show up. Just flat out, we need to show up. You go look at events that are coming up. There shouldn't be a reason why our family we're the only ones there. That just shouldn't be a reason for that. But it's been that way. We've been doing that for over 10 years. We're going to continue to do it, whether we're successful in this campaign or we're not. We're going to continue to volunteer. We're going to continue to sponsor, and we're going to continue to help out with any department, any organization that we have in this town, because we love this town. So, thank you.
That's great. One more time for our candidates. The great philosopher Woody Allen. 90% of life is showing up. I like that. That's good. That's good. Very good. All right, this is the last phase, the last session. Okay, we come back to Chris. We go right back down the line. And this is your 2-minute wrap up. This is your closing statement. I'll say it a different way. This is your call to action and why we should vote for you. Chris, kick us off.
Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, we're a community, and a great one at that. And what we need to do is we need to continue to make hard decisions moving forward. Sometimes they're not going to be popular decisions, but they're decisions we need to talk about as a community, and realize that sometimes we have to do the hard thing. I've been lucky enough in my career, placed in positions in the Department of Defense, where I've been forced to do that. I think that by and large, our Board of Aldermen do that every meeting and do that every day. This is not an easy job. When I was approached 6 months ago to come and take this job, the appointment, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But I tell you, I cherish every day of it. Here's what I'm going to tell you guys. I'm going to be honest with you every day. I'm going to give you 100% every day. I'm never going to tell you that it's a sunny day when it's raining. You can guarantee that I will treat everyone here with dignity and respect, because that's something I believe that we all deserve in our lives. I think that this is a great town, and I look forward to the opportunity to represent you. I request you support me and vote. And with that, I'll just say, God bless the town of Atoka, God bless Tennessee, and God bless America.
Thank you. You know, I'm not going to make a big, long speech here. Not that you did. I'm just, you know, I've got a record out there, and I think if you take a look at it, and you'll know about where I stand on everything. You know, I wear my feelings on my sleeve sometimes, and sometimes that gets me in trouble. But, you know, like Chris said, you know, it's honesty. So I appreciate your support in the past, and I would appreciate it again. Thank you.
Very good, very good. All right, thank all y'all for coming out and listening to what we have to say and having questions for us. As we said all through this, our community's had experienced rapid growth. It's going to continue to grow. You know, all of us up here would like to make some positive impact or influence on what the city's made for the town. With that, I'd like to support Commissioner Youth and your vote come November, and I appreciate, like I said, your time for being out here.
Recently, I went through a local government leadership program with the University of Tennessee, Effective Leadership. And one of the things that really stuck with me was you don't have to be sick to get better. And this is a philosophy that I've continued to go after ever since. And so one of the things that I will say is I run on the transparency side of this 4 years ago. One of the things I did was push and push, and now we're sitting here doing meetings online and having those saved. And I can't do this alone, and I'm going to say that right now, and thanks to the rest of the board. But these are things that I've helped push for, because these are things that I believe in. These are things that the citizens have said over and over, not to just me, but to everybody that's sitting up here, both in campaigning and sitting on the board. I'm always available. I will answer any questions. I always go out and talk to people. There are people in this audience that I've called on numerous occasions and said, hey, this vote's coming up. What do you think? And that's how I'm transparent with everybody, is I want citizen input. This is not just me running because I love to do this. This is me wanting to serve our community. And so if you say that this is what you want to see, this is what I push for. So I ask for your vote in November, and I thank you for the 4 years that you've given me already.
Yes, sir. You know, this job is not about us or any elected officials. It's about you folks, the citizens. And in order to do the job, I believe, responsibly in making the informed decisions, it's got to know what you think and how you feel. That's one thing that I definitely is going to push for. Better communications. We've got to figure out how to do it. I think there are some great ideas out there to do it. But my door was always open as the chief of police. My door is still open at my house. I just ask you don't come at 10 o'clock at night. But if it's life and death, don't you come. But call 911 if it is. But, you know, it's just about that. And I don't say that what they're doing is wrong up here. I don't agree with some things they're doing, but I think we can all agree to disagree. I don't think it should be any feelings on any shoulders or anything like that. I spoke negative about anybody during my campaigning, and I'm not gonna speak negative about anybody up here. Everyone's entitled to their beliefs and their opinions. I appreciate your vote. I'll try to get out and see everyone. There's no way I'm gonna hit 3,000 homes. So see me after this if you need literature or anything, and I appreciate the turnout tonight. I appreciate all those on the video, and I thank everyone for allowing us to do this. And I thank all these individuals up here for being here. Thank you.
Okay, Christie.
Brett, I believe said it earlier, everybody up here has nothing but the best of intentions. Nobody up here has, you know, I don't feel like anybody is out for their own interest or anything like that. There are disagreements and there are not disagreements, and I love the fact that in the end we all remain friends. We're all respectful to each other. I love this town. I have loved every minute that we have lived here. I love it. I don't know how else to say it, but I do. I have enjoyed serving as an alderman. It has been a thrill. There's been hard times. There's been really great experiences, and I am very grateful for it, and I humbly ask for your vote in November. Thank you.
So, all day today I was trying to decide, you know, how do you open, how do you close? I wrote notes, I even printed out issues printed up at the top. But we all know those issues, and we've talked about them throughout the night. You know, the word we're not supposed to say with infrastructure. You know, we want to manage our taxes, we want to have slow growth, but we all want growth. I'm just a simple citizen that lives here in Memphis that was approached and asked to actually serve as an alderman. And at first I was like, I don't know if that's what I want to do. But the more and more I got to talking to people, I was like, that's exactly what I like to do. I love to be in the community. I love to have community events. I love to listen. And with communication, you have to listen just as well as you do speak. I want to be a conduit from the citizens to the government to the director heads. And I really want to develop a relationship. I want to be the ones that show up at the events. You know, I want to be the one that you can have my cell phone number and call me anytime. I'm an open book majority of the time, and I'm just open up for conversations with any of you guys, and ask you to vote for me whenever it comes time to vote for this year's election.
Well, again, I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming out tonight. Again, I agree with the several statements that were made up here. You know, no one's up here for ill intentions, and everyone wants to do what they believe is the best for the town. And I'm going to let those candidates to speak on their campaign, and I'm just going to represent on my campaign. You know, but I firmly believe that as far as our family is concerned, nobody brings the education and experience that we do to the table. I just don't see it, and I want to bring that to the town. We want to make sure that the town has the absolute best representation that they have. You know, when I was elected and served on the county commission, no one shared as much information as I did. We were constantly putting out things for transparency. We were constantly doing those things. When COVID hit, it became, how do we govern? How do we do that? I talked with Mayor Walker at the time, and I told him, I said, here's an easy way we can do it, an easy solution, and I think we have the equipment, and I think we can do that. Talked to my friend Kurt Mayo, who's up here tonight. This was us. This is myself and Kurt coming up with a plan and seeing how we do it. And here we are almost 5 years into it, and we're still running strong with streaming this. We're offering the transparency that's there. Again, we're offering the solutions that are there. Earlier you heard about it, trying to bring businesses in, but the easiest solution is if you can't go and find it locally, order online. Tax dollars are still here. It's just these little key things that are being missed that we can do, and we can start fixing things now. And that's what we just want to offer to the town. We want to offer those services. Again, we ask everyone, my nickname is Show, so of course that's our slogan. We just want to be showing up for Atoka, and that's what we want to do. And I just humbly ask for your vote and appreciate you.
Town of Atoka, I turn my focus to you. You need to know this. Your mayor, Barry Aiken, and Rosemary Bridges were talking about this last month at First Friday Coffee. And their intent was, let's just have a forum where people can get to know the candidates. You know, so many times we go into an election time and nobody knows who's on the ballot, who's running for what, who's who, or what they bring to the table. So that was the purpose for tonight. Not a battle royale, so to speak, but just to kind of get to know who you may vote for. And so I applaud them. I applaud the mayor and the chamber for piecing this together. And if you would, join me in thanking them one more time. Number two, you need to know this, there's an election November 5th, okay? Early voting is October 16th through the 31st, okay? October 16th through Halloween is early voting. And then there's a little bit of a breather time, and then November 5th. It may be the most important election of our lifetime. Locally, regionally, and nationally. You agree with that?
Yes.
The third thing you need to know is, I think we all worry and we all scratch our heads about turnout. How do we get people to the polls? I think 13% in August across the state, across 95 counties, 13% of registered voters voted. Deborah Moody was in this room last month, and she said, out of 39,000 registered voters for Tipton County, 3,000 voted. 39,000 registered voters in T County, 3,000 voted. And so we all struggle. In all 95 counties, we all struggle getting our people to the polls. And so about, I guess 3 or 4 weeks ago, Jim Craig, who is your chairman of the Industrial Development Board, he and I found ourselves in a meeting in Memphis with the campaign manager for our 2 senators. And so we were there with the campaign manager of Senator Marsha Blackburn and also Senator Bill Hagerty. And I believe that he said it best. He said, I'm going to keep this very simplistic. Every single one of us in our circle of influence, we know 15 to 20 people that either they're disenchanted with politics, they're tired of politics, they're frustrated, and they're not going to vote. I'll say it this way, they're fed up, and they're not going to vote. Number 2, there's a bracket of people that need to register to vote. You may have kids, you may have grandkids, you may need to tell your kids to come home from college for a day so they can vote, but we all have people that either need to register to vote or they need to come home or come to their precincts and vote. And then you've got this other group that are just, there's too much apathy. There's laziness. I know in Shelby County, we struggle with people stroking a check to a candidate for $1,000, putting a sign in their yard, helping them go door to door, and then they never make it to the polls to vote. Now, I can't explain that, why somebody would make a contribution to a candidate, but then don't take any time within 3 weeks, early voting and then on voting day, to go push the button for their favorite candidate. How can you explain that? But his point was this. We all know 15 to 20 people who are in one of those 3 divisions. Let's go and make sure that those people vote in early voting. If we do that, these candidates win, and nationally we win. But nobody's going to come in here and do that for us. We can't farm it out. And so it's our responsibility to get people to the polls. Early votings win? Very good. Election days win. We will see you there. Thank you for being here tonight. Be blessed. Have a great week.